Okay, everybody, here we go. It is me, Gregory Mannarino, Monday, May 8th, 2023. This is my pre-market report. People, it's already starting, and it's incredible to see what we are witnessing. What am I talking about? This issue with the smaller and regional banks, this lifeline to the Federal Reserve, and what we know about so far is a $32.6 billion lifeline from the Federal Reserve to 19 banks. Well, this sparked an incredible rally with regard to the regional banks on Friday. Now, today, this morning, same kind of thing. The only one source that I have found so far is reporting about this, Investors Business Daily. That's it. Across the spectrum of the financial channels, I have not heard a peep, not a word, zero. As a matter of fact, this morning, I'm watching Bloomberg, and they floated out some freaky lady to try to convince you and I that the issue with these smaller institutions is over, just like they tried to do last time, but not a mention at all about the lifeline to the Federal Reserve, $32.6 billion. It's probably much more than that. Again, we're not being allowed to know what's going on. Most people have no idea. I mean, it's crazy, but that's what's happening. So we got this, what looks like a continuation rally in the smaller regional institutions. Let's see where this goes moving forward. On the back of that, you got stock futures this morning, slightly higher for the Dow, slightly higher for the S&P 500. The NASDAQ is just about at the flat line, slightly red, at least as I am doing this. Stock trading doesn't start for about 43 minutes from the time I am doing this video blog. So stock futures are flattish, okay, slightly higher. Let's just say that. The 10-year yield jumped higher yet again, 3.49. I mean, this crazy wavering around in the 10-year yield. People, you know what you're looking at when you see this. This is instability here, and in my view, we've already seen this repeatedly. The Fed, central banks are not going to allow, at least for now, any kind of a rising here with regard to the 10-year yield means that bonds are selling off. So what we need to keep our eyes on here is, I believe you're going to see this come down, and probably come down substantially until they consolidate the banking system. They're not done. This whole issue, you know what it's about. They're propping up the smaller institutions so they can be absorbed. You're going to hear every manner of deception from the propaganda ministry, how these institutions are sound, they're doing great. It really wasn't a management problem. Of course, it's never been a management issue. And this thing going on with these institutions, the banks, this is systemic. It's involving all of the banks, thousands and thousands of them, even the big institutions. And you and I knew this from like 9 months ago. Remember, no deposits, no loans, no deals. We have an economy in free fall, no end in sight. Central banks, they're going to continue to pressure the economy as they are setting up the new system, period, the end. All this is evident to you. Cryptocurrencies this morning are getting slammed. They're getting hit hard. You got silver under some pressure right now, gold catching a bid. You got the relative strength of the dollar slightly in the red, despite the rising of the 10-year yield. And crude oil, here we go, here's the story. And crude oil getting propped up yet again. You know my story on commodities. You know my story on crude oil, people. For the longer run, I really can't envision a better place to be than commodities here. Eventually, you know how this is going to play out. A meltdown in that debt market is going to destroy stock markets around the world. Cash is just simply going to move from one reality to another. And I think a commodity super cycle beyond anyone's wildest dreams is being set up right now. What has been going on now for well over 10 years here? We've seen this malinvestment. I covered this yesterday in my Markets a Look Ahead. Easy money, low-cost credit has been the driving force driving, I'm losing my train of thought here, investments moving into things where it has no business going, and out of places where it should be going into creates an incredible environment of distortions, which cannot be sustained. So eventually these bubbles to the upside, hyper bubbles with regard to the market, with regard to real estate, and inverse bubbles with regard to commodities, probably in aggregate, more so gold and silver, as you know. I say this all the time. These are going to normalize. And actually what's going to end up happening here is they're going to way over correct. So that's how this is going to play out. It just can't go another way. It should be pretty evident to all of you. So what are you going to do? You're not going to change the damn thing. You're going to bet against the debt, become your own central bank. The stuff that you and I talk about every freaking single day here. Anyway, that's the situation where we're going here. Nothing much else going on. Let's see how this plays out. Like I said, we got stock futures slightly in the green this morning, 10-year yield rising, crude oil catching a bid. We got no talk at all. People are not being allowed to. Why are people not being allowed to know that these smaller institutions have a lifeline to the Fed? Because they're trying to prevent runs on these banks. There were bank runs on these institutions. You weren't allowed to see them. The mainstream media wasn't talking about it. But how do we know they were happening? Because massive withdrawals. They were allowing us to know that. People were withdrawing their cash from these institutions, putting them into larger institutions, just as you and I understood would happen before it did. Again, we are way ahead of the curve, you and I. We know what we're doing. We know why we're doing it. We're not going to change anything here, honestly, as to what we're doing here. But watching the deceptions, the distractions, the propaganda, all this stuff that you would expect to see, you and I, in this kind of environment, it's very troubling to me. Again, people are not, imagine living in a situation where people are only allowed to know what they want them to know. There's no real reporting anymore. There's no market anymore, as you all know that. I covered this yesterday again, this third player being the central banks in the market here. And this has caused not just malinvestment, but distortions beyond anyone's wildest dreams in the markets. And this is all going to get very real. People, when? I don't know. Because people keep asking me when. All we do know, and what can we see in real time, is, again, a global economy which is grinding to a halt. It's done here. A middle class is getting systematically erased. The propaganda, the fake numbers, all this is part of the same scheme, trying to keep people lulled into some sense of normalcy. Why do you think, for example, they're not allowing people to know that the smaller institutions, the smaller banks have a lifeline to the Fed, just got $32 billion. And this, again, the fact that we're only one source was reporting this, other than me, I think, honestly, and maybe there's some other YouTubers talking about it, there must be something else going on. There's probably a lot more cash being funneled into these institutions, and we just haven't. I can't find anything else. And I look upside down, backwards, and sideways for this kind of information, and I can't find it. Just one source, Investors Business Daily, is talking about this. Anyway, people, that's where we stand today. Let's keep our eyes on this. In my view, I'm going to say it again, the market looks extremely top heavy here. I am still looking for a temporary drop here in the S&P 500. We'll see if that plays out. Like I said on Friday, like I said yesterday, I believe the market's going to end probably a lot lower this month than we are right now. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But we'll address these things as we move forward. All right, people, that's it. Please comment on this video. Let me know what you think. Where did I get it right? Where did I get it wrong? And I will see all of you, of course, for my live stream, 1:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. People keep asking me repeatedly, Greg, when? Well, I think by now you should know. All right? I will see all of you later. Please, those thumbs up are so important as well. We're blowing it out of the water lately. Thumbs up if you like the video. If not, that's okay too. Believe me, I get it. We're not gonna get to everybody here, but that's okay too. All right. Love you a lot from the heart. I will see you later.